There.
No!
Chat's up.
Look, we're all here together
Hi!
again!
This is so long. How long has it been since we've had like the 3 geeks in the 3 geeks?
3
I
weeks.
think it was September.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not September.
Yeah.
Well, if it was 3 weeks, that would be September.
It's
We've done it regularly. Okay.
Weeks.
How long's it been since Errol's been in one?
1667 a day for
1667
NaNoWriMo.
a day. Did you know, since this is the pre-show, I had a very,
1666.6, yeah.
I had a very like, I'm Rick moment last
Oh, really?
week.
Why? With some boys?
Maybe. But he was like, "Who's your friend?" And I was like,
What?
Why are you gargling at her?
it was like cat meow.
No, they gargle.
Listen, he's just sitting there like.
This is the
I
pre-show,
don't know what cat
everybody.
you're around that gargles.
Oh yeah, I should.
Night Vale.
Oh, I still haven't seen Night Vale yet.
Neither have I.
Night
Oh,
Vale.
look!
Night Vale. Hi, Angel.
Angel is here.
Hello!
And we have video.
So anybody
Yay.
who's just starting this because they're not watching it live, we will officially start in approximately 10 minutes. This is the
Woo!
pre-show.
This is we get Timbits in the pre-show.
Get to match in the pre-show.
Should
I'm very
Martha.
Canadian, Alice.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. I wonder if there are people who don't know what Timbits are in there.
Well, I think they call them donut holes, or
Mm-hmm.
what's the one of the donut places in the States has an actual name for them.
I thought they were called like Dunkin' Dots or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Dunkin' Dots? That's cute. Ah, I can go with
I
that.
like Timbits.
Angel.
Brian, quiet, I'm playing Terraria. I'm sorry, Brian, I won't be able to join you until, like, after Wednesday.
What?
Because
Why?
my internet usage is up.
What
So-
are you doing?
Won't this
I
hurt
review
you
for
then?
a game website, and they're making me... Yeah, this is hurting me, but whatever. It's like an extra $2, probably, in my bill.
I hope.
I hope.
And they're making you what?
Well, you know, I have to download all the games I review, so it's tough. But I don't have anything to review next month, so I'm safe.
Oh.
But I gotta look at better internet.
See, this is what sucks about being Canadian in a world where all media and content is going streaming or downloadable. Because for some reason, all the internet companies want to gouge you with bandwidth limitations.
For some reason, I think it's called greed.
But we're one of the few countries that do it.
Uh-huh. Because they can.
No, I know, but it's frustrating and it's annoying and it's stupid.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but
I
they
really
can.
wish the CRTC would step in and do something because the telemarketing companies just get away with way too much. And it's ridiculous.
I lucked out in St. Catharines because we have a DSL provider called Vaccine that just provide unlimited for $30 a month.
Rogers, I don't know about Bell, but Rogers does offer an unlimited, but it's such a ridiculous price that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like the good alternative is to go with TechSavvy. Because TechSavvy will give you like 300 gigs, but unfortunately their I don't even like their bit rate is kind of bad compared to Rogers. Like you get a slower connection.
And when it comes down to it, it's still
Rogers, but
Rogers or Bell. So.
But it's not as price gouging, and it doesn't limit like the problem with the limitation is you go over and it costs you an arm and a leg to make up for the difference. And I've never gone over a tech savvy limit before.
300 gigs. It would be very difficult too. I
don't know. I could probably do it, but
I think that's almost the size of my hard drive. So.
So Amanda would just be downloading for spite at that point.
Yeah.
Just downloading.
Because I can!
Yes.
Oh, dear.
So welcome to the pre-show, guys.
Welcome to the pre-show.
We are 3 Geeks in a Pod, a geeky podcast that talks about geeky things on a semi-weekly basis. We try to be weekly, but unfortunately we do have lives.
Wasn't last week the only one we skipped?
Well, there were a couple weeks in like August and September that we missed. Where it was like one of us. And,
This is like episode what?
43.
43.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the next couple weeks are going to be kind of, it'll be one or two of us or none of us.
Because it's in November.
And Nano's coming up. And
Dead.
December's coming up, which is always a busy month for everybody.
Yeah.
It may be the new year before we're actually back to a regular
That's why
schedule.
November's going to be crazy.
Yeah. You've got like, what, 3-4 concerts out?
I have 4 gigs in November.
Yeah.
NaNoWriMo, and I have 4 gigs. I haven't had 4 gigs in 1 month.
Debs isn't busy enough.
Actually, it's not all Deb's fault.
I'm just teasing her. Because Deb seems to
Somebody had to have a big nano event.
Hey, I thought it'd be cool.
It is cool.
I'm coming.
Are you coming? Oh, yeah! That's right! Woo! I remember. I said, this will be the second time I'll see you.
Yay!
Are you going to bring friends and you can bring books?
I am bringing both friends and books.
Nice. So in November 16th, we're doing a geeky book swap. And Toronto NaNoWriMo is doing it as their halfway party. And so what we're doing is people will come, they'll bring themselves a book that's geeky. This isn't a book, it's a journal. Oh, it's your private journal of love.
Most of the notes in there are game notes. The ones you turned to are game notes.
You treat love like a game. I don't have a book around here to show as an example. Is this more love notes?
No, it's not love notes.
Oh,
no.
what are these?
Those are many notes.
Max! Oh!
What am I writing down there?
Max
facts.
Tutorial level. Anyway, so what's happening on November 6th? 16th. Is it 16th?
16th, yeah.
Yeah, people come bring a geeky book and take a geeky book. I'm bringing all sorts of books and just leaving them there.
I'm leaving books that you gave me.
Yeah, see? So there might be actually just a book dumping night, really.
That's the only reason you made the event, wasn't it?
Pardon?
That was one of the reasons you made the event, wasn't it?
It is. My wife was thinking, you gotta get these books out. So I thought, okay. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. And then we're going to have a number of geeky bands. I found many geeky bands, so it'll be exciting. Because I'm going to be introducing some new geeky bands. Because everybody's getting tired, Debs and Errol.
No, they're not.
Not even a little.
Yeah, a little bit. I know you are.
No, they're not.
I say, hi, man pans, let's talk about... No!
What? I'm not.
I don't want to hear anything more about your stupid band!
Say that.
Big band!
That's like a hugely inside joke
I
now.
know, so you should explain it before the show starts.
Oh, this is another phone thing with Errol. You'd think I'd learn. But Errol was driving to Ottawa, and I was walking to McDonald's, and then he was in a car, so he had no limits on how loud he could be. He was also in a car just with his kids too, right? So there's no other adult to be like, Errol, shut up.
Yeah, that will work.
I don't know, it could. Although it doesn't work with your own mom, as I saw demonstrated.
Definitely not my mom.
Anyway, and so I get into the McDonald's, and I go to order my meal, and it's a breakfast meal, and I'm like, okay, hi, can I have a Bacon McMuffin? And I took the phone away from my ear, and the volume was way up, and all of a sudden, Errol starts screaming into the phone, Big Mac!
Big Mac! I want a Big Mac!
Now we're in my apartment.
And fries! Big Mac and fries!
This went on for 2 minutes while I ordered the meal, and then Errol cracked himself up so much that he just started doing that, laughing uncontrollably, wheezing into the car, into the phone, and then I was doubled over on the counter. I had to go to the side counter where you get your straws and stuff, and I was just sitting there.
Hang up, actually.
I could have.
But guilt, she doesn't like hanging up on people.
But in the panic of the moment, I think I've hung up on you once before. Maybe.
Did you hang up on me?
Mercenary Pen is on a roll tonight. He said to Errol, sucking the mellow out of melodrama.
Oh, dear. So yeah, that's the story. So Errol will now yell out occasionally, Big Mac.
And then she'll just die.
We'll lose it.
It's great.
He already did it while I was calling in this parking.
In fact, if you're ever with the man pants and you just want to, if she's having a serious conversation asking a man out or something, just yell out, Big Mac!
Because I ask out men in front of other people.
All the
time.
We can try, you can do it at bars. Let's go to the bar and try it.
Errol should not be your wingman.
No!
Errol
That would be the the worst wingman.
No.
Errol would be the worst wingman because at first he'd support you like dating somebody, but then he'd just take over making friends with that person.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to steal them. No, we'll just be friends.
Hi, Kari.
Kari! Christy! Hello, Melly. No, there is no Debs.
No.
Because I asked her, but she was just exhausted today. She was busy all day yesterday.
I shed a tear when there was no Debs.
Yeah, I know.
Because I said Debs might be here. I promised to Debs.
I didn't tell Debs that Kieran was here. Cause,
yeah.
Kieran knows Debs first. If you guys don't know who this guy is, but we're going to start.
We're going to start.
Almost like in 1 minute.
1 minute, we're going to start.
I am going to tweet.
Tweet it. Tweet it.
Huzzah.
Hello, Kari and Christy and Melly and all the newcomers. Twiddles? Twitters?
This is going to be an interesting.
Hello and welcome to Three Geeks in the Pod. My name is Errol.
I'm Manda.
I'm Ja-Mez.
And
greetings and happy salutations.
And we have a special guest for you tonight.
Yes.
Now, for any of you that do not know, you can check out the chat. There's a chat link down there below. I don't know. Actually, do you have the third ding up?
oh crap!
No!
I'm sorry. Hang on. I can
busy
fix that. I
thinking
can
about
fix
guys.
that. I
That's
can
fine.
fix it.
So anyway, there's Three Geeks involved. You can find it at debsanderrol.com/chat. There's a live chat that is running while we're doing our live show. And today we have a special guest, Kieran. You might know him as CinWicked on CW Critiques and a bunch of other different things that he does. And we are
Thank you for the information, Errol.
And we are discussing Disney. Now, Debs was supposed to join us tonight, but sadly, Debs was just utterly exhausted and so couldn't make it. So if you guys know who Debs is, she's my bandmate.
Everybody knows who Debs is, I think, at this point.
Anyway, but we have the man pants to give us the proper intro for Kieran.
All right, so everybody, this is Kieran, a.k.a. CinWicked.
I said that too.
Hang on a second. You said you introduce him and give him a proper introduction.
Yeah, you're just repeating things I said.
You ain't.
We're 5 minutes into the show and it's already derailed.
Hang on. So, as I said. This is CinWicked. And for those of you who don't know or haven't seen him in chat, I'm just going to give Errol a moment here.
Errol's
The only way you're going to get through this without him interrupting is with him laughing too hard to interrupt.
That's true. For those of you who don't know, he's been in chat lots, but he also hosts the website CW Critiques, which has been around for about, you said, 3 years now? And they do fun things like video reviews and live streams of games and all sorts of fun things. And it's also the place where all of my videos are hosted now.
All of them?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Like what? I know.
Like Dining Dating's there, and the Willis Letters, and my new Let's Play with Dan is up there now as well. And yeah, any video I make pretty much makes it up there.
Cool.
Yeah. So go check it out, CWCritiques.com.
And you have a live stream too, don't you?
I do. Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do Anime Evolution, where we look at the evolution of anime as a North American genre from the 1980s to 2000 by watching anime that aired between 1980 and 2000.
Awesome.
Next week we start Fruits Basket.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it, but I know my one friend is obsessed with it. So that's about all I know about fruit baskets or whatever it is. Just so you know, if you are joining us in chat, there is about a 2-minute lag. So if we're not answering, it doesn't seem like you're answering your questions right away, that's because...
Amanda doesn't want to answer you.
I'm so glad to have you back, Errol. It's been like, I thought to myself, you know what? I haven't felt guilty during a podcast in far too long.
What are you guilty about now? You didn't feel guilty about anything. Why are you guilty? Unless you did something.
I didn't give a good introduction.
Oh, what was wrong with your introduction?
You interrupted it.
Your introduction was fine. You shouldn't feel so bad about yourself. You should love yourself.
Anyway, our topic this week is Disney, actually. Because when CinWicked was like, I want to be on a podcast. We were like, yes, you should be on a podcast. and we asked him what interests he had.
Anime, I bet.
Anime, and Disney. And I know almost nothing about anime, but I know enough about Disney to have like a whole hour-long discussion on it. And Kari says it's Disney. I can't not rant.
It's okay, Kari. I too have done the academic studies of Disney. I know many of the rants.
So this should be interesting because, well, I was mostly thinking about the cartoons and maybe not so much all the live action stuff. Disney is huge. It's a huge topic to take on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought we could discuss.
Walt wasn't ambitious guy.
Yes, he was. We could discuss our favorite.
He succeeded, I would say.
Well, he didn't create his take over the world with my City of Tomorrow plan. Epcot's cool, but it's no take over the world cool.
No.
Really? That was his plan?
Yeah, Epcot was supposed to be the future City of Tomorrow. It was going to be a corporate city that was run entirely by the Disney Corporation. Companies would come in, they would rent office space. There was going to be like the People Mover ride was actually going to be the transit system in Epcot, and people were going to have residences assigned by the company when they moved in, and they would live there, and they would commute through there, and there would be green spaces and activities, and people would work there, and their rent would be deducted immediately from their paychecks.
So it's like communism.
That was just a shtick of, this is our vision of the future and not, we're going to actually make this a real city.
No, when he was trying to build Epcot, he was trying to build a City of Tomorrow, and that was why he told investors he'd build a second Disneyland out there, because that was going to be entertainment for the people who lived in his City of Tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
The experimental prototype City of Tomorrow, Epcot.
Have you ever been to Epcan Settle?
Epcan Settle.
That was that sentence.
I haven't been to Epcot. I went once to the Magic Kingdom. That was what we did. And then our ride got stuck in It's a Small World.
Oh, you told me that,
yeah. Yeah, and we were stuck there with it playing on a loop for about 20 minutes, and I went a little mad that day.
I lived in Disney World for a month.
You lived in it?
Yeah, 2 years ago now, a guy decided he wanted to do a guerrilla movie in Disney using internet reviewers.
Huh.
And he asked me if I wanted to go, and so I totally dropped one of my classes in the middle of my summer semester and lived in Disney for the month of July.
Oh my gosh.
And Disney was okay with that?
Well,
it was a guerrilla-style movie.
Yeah,
they didn't
paid for hotel rooms and passes and everything.
Okay.
So we were legitimately there, and we shot a guerrilla movie at the same time.
That sounds really expensive then.
Yeah, but I didn't have to pay for anything.
Oh, because
that's fun.
Nice.
Wow, he must have been loaded.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Fun.
Because I spent most of my summer vacations in Vegas. Disneyland in LA wasn't that far, so I used to go all the time.
I've seen pictures of it.
So it was weird because for some strange reason I thought everybody had been to Disneyland, and so when the Pirates of the Caribbean came out,
oh yeah,
and it was like, oh, it's so funny because there's a lot of things lifted from the original ride, and I thought that was pretty clever, and then I realized, look, see, blood, and nobody knew what I was talking about.
Oh, well, like the dog with the keys.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
The dog with the keys, the skeletons.
Everybody's sorry I was stuck on It's a Small World.
Well, It's a Small World is supposed to be a prayer for peace.
Really?
That's what the song is. The Sherman Brothers said that when they were writing the song, it was supposed to be a prayer for peace.
Oh, this is fun. See, you know all sorts of stuff about Disney. This is the perfect topic.
When I lived in Disney World for a month, I was with a bunch of people who were really into Disney, and I was living in Disney World for a month.
So do you know all the politics? Because it's a very corporately Disney, other than taking over an awful lot of stuff. A lot of things but I mean they've taken over more than just Marvel and LucasArts. They took over tons of stuff, right? Lucasfilm, sorry. Yes, there is no more LucasArts.
There is no more LucasArts, no.
Well, the brand still exists, but there's no development. It's just they're going to slap that logo onto whatever Disney develops as a Star Wars related game now.
Pin trading was a dark and seedy underbelly, Angel.
What's the pin trading?
It's collectible pins. Collectible tradable pins, and sometimes there are only unique ones once a year that you can get, and Halloween special ones.
So is it kind of like the Beanie Baby craze when people would
There are people who have entire pieces of clothing covered in nothing but pins.
Oh,
I've seen people walk around with hats.
This is sort of Disney related. But when I used to work at McDonald's and when 101 Dalmatians came out, like the live action 101 Dalmatians, they had 101 Dalmatian toys at McDonald's.
In black bags.
In black bags, so you can't see what they are. And the parents and the kids, the parents were worse. The parents would go nuts about the fact that they couldn't choose their toy. So, like, I had one woman come up and be like, I want the train one. I'm like, well, it's a surprise, you know? Like, it's a surprise every time. She's like, yeah, but this is the train. I'm like, I have no idea. It's a surprise. And she, like, picks it up. She feels, she's like, it's not the train. I want the train. It's like, I hated that movie that year because it's like everybody wanted their one.
I wouldn't blame the movie in that instance. I blame people.
I blame people, but I blame the person.
I have some lovely stories about customer service, and there's a reason I'm not in it anymore.
But we're out here for Disney. Sorry, that was my sort of Disney-related tangents. So what's everybody, like, in terms of cartoons and stuff, what's everyone's favorite of?
I feel bad
Pixar.
that it's my favorite, but I gotta give it up to Little Mermaid.
Yeah?
It's terrible. I am giving up my entire life. I'm to, you know, get a chance to date this guy that I saw on a boat dancing with a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Like, The Little Mermaid is still one of my favorites, even though the message is awful.
Well, I mean, a lot of Disney movies.
A lot of Disney movie messages are awful when you look at it a certain way, but I was obsessed with The Little Mermaid.
I was obsessed with The Little Mermaid, too.
I was 7.
I was in university.
5 or 6.
I bought the Ariel I got the Ariel Barbie for my birthday, and I was so thrilled, and I thought that was when I learned the hard lesson of Barbie's hair is never the same again once you put it in water. Because I put the whole Barbie in water and it just came up and it was like all frizzy and crappy, and so Ariel was never pretty again.
I got people bought me, like, you know, the storybook. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had.
We probably had the same storybook.
Thing. You know that theater cutout board thing? Somebody got that for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had the magical seashell playset, which was a little bath time toy that you put into the water and Ariel would come swimming out of it.
Oh, I had that too!
Style doll.
Yes, I was obsessed with that thing too.
And that one's hair didn't get ruined by being in
No,
water.
it did not. The other one did. We used to play mermaids in the pool. That was our game. But then I look at my sister and I.
Oh, okay. That's you and your boy. Just playing mermaids in the pool.
So what? Manpans would sit on a rock and comb her hair and he would just fall onto it.
I'll be Eric, and you can look at me longingly.
Wow.
She rubs the wrong cheek, though.
What?
When Max licks her.
She rubs the wrong... So he licks her on one cheek and she does this on the other?
I remember noticing that the first time I saw it. I think I never noticed these things. But that was the only time I ever noticed
I never even realized that.
Wow.
My favorite is Beauty and the Beast. I think. I was obsessed with Little Mermaid, but I think my favorite is still Beauty and the Beast.
Mine's Aladdin.
Aladdin?
Yeah, because it was hilarious.
A lot of second Renaissance.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
Yes.
Mine's going to be unpopular then.
What is it?
Well, if I'm not picking a Pixar one, because Pixar you have to stand on its own.
Yeah, don't
my
pick
favorite
Pixar.
would be Lilo and Stitch.
I love Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
It's like mine's no, I love
Lilo and Stitch is amazing.
Because I'm not a big fan of the Disney musical thing, and Lilo and Stitch is one of the first ones where it's kind of like, first of all, it was contemporary, which was a little unusual for Disney.
Sorry, I just read one of Brian's comments.
Matt Pan's in her dinglehopper.
I don't know if I want to know the stories.
No, it's a dinglehopper in the movie.
It's the
fork. He's like, it's a dinglehopper.
And also,
humans use these little babies to straighten their hair.
I don't think I've seen that movie since it came out.
I
don't
can
remember
still
any of this.
Emperor's New Groove was also great.
I loved Emperor's New Groove.
There was no singing in that one.
No,
well,
not
there
really.
was Cusco's theme song.
There was the opening bit, but those two movies were ones that actually surprised me. I walked into those.
I think what I like about them is that they're so not Disney, but at the same time very Disney.
They're Disney attempting to break their own mold.
Yeah.
Like it felt more like they were trying to be a little more DreamWorks or a little more Pixar with, trying to...
And also, like, Atlantis.
Atlantis is
Oh,
one of
that's-
Kari just said, yay for Lilo and Stitch. I just agreed with Ja-Mez about something.
That happened at some point.
We need
Yeah,
to. I need to
never.
like have a drink for that every time. I'll remain so sober. Have a drink every time Kari agrees with Ja-Mez.
Yeah, but I also... Again, Lilo and Stitch I enjoyed because it was different, but it had a really good message to it.
Yeah, it was a family message.
It was one of the few that I could actually relate to.
Well, it wasn't romance centered.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
about
No.
friendship, it was about family, it was about, struggling to just try and maintain something, whereas, everything else is about, or not every, but a lot of Disney films are about, trying to better your life, whereas, Lilo and Stitch is more about maintaining a status quo.
Or finding a home wherever you are.
Yeah.
Or like it's not the home, it's the people that are around you.
Mhm.
And then there are the ones I can barely remember, like Treasure Island. I must
Treasure
watch
Planet.
that. Treasure Planet, sorry. See, I can
yeah,
barely
there was like a
remember it.
slew of those. Or same with Atlantis.
Atlantis
right?
was really good, but it was so not Disney that Disney people couldn't watch it.
Oh, okay.
It was so not
I
Disney.
don't know if I was a big fan of Atlantis. I remember liking the idea. It was one of those, when they build up to something, when anyone's going to go and look for some great civilization, oftentimes it's the build-up that's a lot more fun than the actual reveal.
Discovering of it.
Yeah.
Atlantis spends a lot of time in Atlantis.
And
Yeah.
there wasn't that- and it didn't seem as amazing, right?
No.
Whereas every time you see, like, the build-up of going to... Actually, no. I mean, there's no build-up like Laputa. And but Laputa is dead. And so it's just... So there's all this just lost potential of what it could have been. And you're going, oh... And so there's just this epic background of something. And it's this... And you build up a nostalgia for it, even though you've never experienced it. And you just... Oh, sorry. That's just me.
No.
I'm excited about Miyazaki.
Getting excited about
That's the one where
Miyazaki.
they find, like, the garden in the sky, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
the...
It's called Castle in the Sky.
The iconic
Yeah, I keep
scene
getting
of
that
the
one and
robot
Howl's
offering
Moving
the
Castle
flower.
confused.
Mm-hmm.
I also love Howl's Moving Castle. But that one's based on a novel by Diana Wynne Jones.
Yes. Have you read it?
Yes.
Yes. Quite different.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's a lot more European than Howl's Moving Castle ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing how that happens in a Japanese adaptation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Actually, one thing about Lilo and Stitch, which Kari just brought up, was that the relationship between the sisters was very realistic
And it
to
passes
me.
the Bechdel
And
test, yay!
It passes the Bechdel test! Woohoo!
I love that that's
What was
become
the
a
other
thing
one?
on
The
our
Emperor's
show.
New Groove. What got me about that one was there was a couple of what are they called when they make modern jokes in a
Pop culture references.
pop culture references. There was a couple pop culture references, but a lot of it was focused on the story and the comedy. And Kronk and Yzma are like two of my favorite duos anywhere. I think.
I'll turn him into a flea. And then I'll put that flea in a box. I'll put that box into a larger box. And then I'll nail that box to myself. And when it arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer.
Yeah, I love that. One of the older ones I liked, I guess, if we're gonna go before the Renaissance or the Golden Age of the second Golden Age of Disney
What was
movies.
the movie before Little Mermaid?
Oh yeah, it was Oliver and
Oliver and
Company.
Was it Oliver
Which
and
was
Company?
which was their attempt to be modern and edgy, and
It's a good movie.
it's not bad.
Well,
It's not
but
bad.
The
It's
music has really dated.
yeah.
Also,
it's-
unfortunately, have the unfortunate, happenstance of coming at the same time as Land Before Time.
Yeah, Don Bluth just.
Well, Don
fooled
Bluth and
Disney.
Steven Spielberg.
Land Before Time was the first movie I ever saw in a theater, and
Really?
I cried when Littlefoot's mother died.
Oh, that was
Which was like
That
the
was
first 2 minutes of
with the first 2 minutes.
Spoilers!
And the entire movie, while it's fun, is also friggin' depressing.
Yeah, but I think Don Bluth had. I know we're going off of Disney, but the way
Well, I mean, Don Bluth is still within the Disney sort of.
what
He started at Disney.
Yeah, he started Disney.
how he
left
differed
Disney.
from Disney though in his movies' messages was that he considered that it didn't matter how many awful things happened to the characters, if there was a happy ending, children would be able to accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because you look at it, I'm like, yeah, like An
yeah,
American
all-
Tale was the other one, which was like that
Secret
poor
of Nim.
mouse, Secret of Nim,
Also,
and
that poor mouse.
also that poor mouse, and
Secret of Nim was pretty awesome, though.
Oh no, it was awesome, but
it
it's
was
also
so
like,
awesome. That was
really
another.
dark for a kids movie.
But then Don Bluth's entire model, he stopped getting companies that were willing to invest in it, and then he tried to copy the Disney model again once the Renaissance happened, and so he had Thumbelina.
I hated Thumbelina.
And Jodie Benson playing a girl who wanted to be something other than she was.
Yeah.
It was the Little Mermaid, cut and paste.
It was tiny Little Mermaid with legs.
Yeah.
But it's funny how many people came out of the Disney, like the same people who made the second Disney Renaissance were developing at the same time as a bunch of other artists who kind of started at Disney and then went off and started doing their own things. Tim Burton, who became very huge in the late 80s, early 90s, and tapered off after that as far as I'm concerned.
But everybody knows who
And then
Tim
came
Burton
back to
is,
Disney,
though.
and then we had that Alice in Wonderland that we don't talk about.
Oh, God,
Who did
awful.
Titan AE?
And then
Titan AE
that was Don Bluth's company, but Don Bluth was
was that
dead by
Don
then, I
Bluth?
think,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
I think he's still alive,
Was
but
he?
I think
Okay.
he was figurehead rather than...
You're sort of like, just do what you want.
Because Titan AE came out after the
Yeah.
Renaissance too, didn't it?
Yeah.
Titan AE was
And it was
interesting.
good. I liked
That was
it.
Fox, though, wasn't it? That wasn't Disney.
That was 20th Century Fox, yeah.
Yeah, but it was still Don Bluth, right?
Yeah.
We're back, A Dinosaur's Adventure.
Oh, no, we're not going to touch that one.
That one was friggin' depressing, too. All dogs go to heaven.
Oh, yeah, that was. But it had a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always have happy
They always have
endings.
happy endings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what was another one? But, oh yeah, The Great Mouse Detective. That was another one of my favorites. I think we
Basil
watched
of
that
Baker Street.
at Basil of Baker Street.
There was apparently controversy about them changing that name.
Well, what, from Sherlock Holmes, you mean?
No, because it was originally going to be called Basil of Baker Street. And
Instead
then
of
Disney
Great Mouse
executives
Detective.
thought that was a stupid name, and then changed it to The Great Mouse Detective, which everyone's like, that's an even dumber name. So someone at the company ended up writing up a memo of like changing all the classic Disney names to, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was something like The Woman and the Little Men. And that's not a direct quote, but a lot of them were like these really terrible things, and there was this huge stink at Disney about it. One of the executives got like super pissed off and went on a tirade trying to find out who it was and fire them. But because all of the other animators thought it was hilarious, they kind of just like didn't talk about it and wouldn't let them know who it was. And
Oh, wow.
I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus.
I think.
Yeah, I believe Don Bluth's last movie was actually Troll in Central Park.
That one was
Titan AE
also...
was good, but I don't think it was his last movie. It's the last movie that actually upholds his legacy, though.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened.
See,
to Titan.
I think the animation in that one's amazing,
I
but I
remember
don't really
Bob.
remember like the story that much. Yeah, that joke at the end was awesome, but
Yes, the Troll one was animated. It was terrible.
Yeah, I heard it was terrible.
It was really terrible, but
Yeah.
it was animated.
wasn't there a chicken one too that he did?
Uh,
A rooster or something? Maybe I'm remembering.
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
I don't know. A lot of the 90s
Hello, real
animation
page.
films kind of just blur together for me.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is that Pixar is kind of going the route of Disney a bit, in that Disney had those like few years of like really, really popular and great movies. Like you had The Little Mermaid, you had, then immediately after that was, what was after Little Mermaid?
After Little Mermaid was Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Beauty
No,
and- no, wait, no.
Beauty and the Beast, then Aladdin,
Then
then Lion King.
Aladdin, then Lion King.
Yeah.
Lion King, then Pocahontas, which was starting to downturn.
Yeah.
And then,
Which is funny because Pocahontas was actually in development before some of the other ones.
yeah.
Pocahontas. Oh
And
my
after Pocahontas,
goodness.
is that when Hunchback came?
Yeah.
I loved
and then
Hunchback, but Hunchback
Mulan, I think, was after that.
Hunchback wasn't well received.
Hunchback?
Hercules after Hunchback.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Then Mulan.
Then Mulan.
Hercules I didn't like at all, actually. Not just because they didn't... I mean, it's kind of a standard of Disney that they don't follow things like the mythology behind it. The moment that they were like, Hercules' parents, Hera and Zeus, I'm like, no.
From the mythology standpoint, I'm with you. I was annoyed by many of the changes.
I can
but
understand-
I really like how they adapted the idea of the Greek epic.
Yeah.
Like, the Greek chorus was a...
Yes, was a chorus.
Well,
See,
they-
I just...
gospel
The other part of
chorus.
it, though, is that I didn't like the style of it. I didn't like the like, there were more pop culture jokes. There were more...
Yeah.
I couldn't really...
I still really like Hades and Meg, though.
Oh, yeah, I was okay with Meg. Hades,
Yeah, Hades was an awesome performance. But
Hades was a good performance.
Hades is one of my favorite villains to see come back again and again, still voiced by James Woods in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. You don't usually see...
For the dead.
Oh, that's another. Why Kingdom Hearts confuses me.
Why?
I've never actually played it.
You should.
But
You
I
really
just
should.
It's good.
I heard it's really good, but I just see I see like these anime type characters, and then I see like Disney characters in amongst them, and I'm like, what is going on?
Well, the Kingdom Hearts franchise is a merging of the Disney franchises and the Final Fantasy franchise of Square Enix. It's a joint effort between Square Enix and Disney.
When it first was announced, everybody's going, "What?
This is going to be awful!
It suck!"
And it does not suck.
No, because what they did is that you had Square Enix people enter the different worlds of Disney, and they did it and they did it very well.
And it's all multi-dimensional. There are different worlds. Sleeping Beauty is a different world from Cinderella. They're not all happening in the same place, and you're a character and friends.
Disney is a
travel between
multiverse.
them. It's a multiverse.
Yeah, and so you never run into like same old dungeon. No, you have a different thing with different characters,
But
with
there's a
different
threat
looks.
to the multiverse
Yes.
that you have been equipped with a giant key sword to fight.
Which also sounds weird. Why are you running around with a stupid key?
Because they couldn't actually have a bladed weapon.
Yeah, no, I know. I meant like
That's
when
very
you watch.
interesting.
Oh, really?
They have some sort of bladed weapon in all of their.
what
They
was
negotiated
another?
it down to a giant key.
Yes.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame. That was one of the first ones where they really had problems with well, not probably the first time, but like with the dancing Esmeralda in the flames.
Yeah.
When they had that Hellfire song, which is one of my favorite
Great.
songs, not just villain songs, but songs in the whole Disney franchise. And in the song, like, he sees this gypsy woman like dancing, and he's trying to not be tempted and everything. And in the original, she looks, I guess, a lot more naked than she ended up being. They had to like change it and put her in like a dress.
They made it more obvious that she was wearing something.
Yeah.
Less
Rather
obvious she was wearing
than-
something.
There's a statement I've never heard anyone say ever at all for any reason at all. Tron was the high point for me.
Well, Fatan, who is my roommate,
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I love Tron too, but I've never heard anyone.
Was Tron
doesn't
Disney?
tend to enjoy Disney
Yeah,
animation
Tron
at
Disney.
all.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
His entire Disney chain is the Disney live-action movies.
Yeah.
And for Disney live-action movies, I'll agree that Tron is pretty much the high point of what effectively stopped. They didn't really continue live-action much past Tron.
Yeah.
Until they did
Freaky
Tron.
Friday.
Freaky Friday!
Friday. Are
There-
you
how
talking about
many-
the remake or the original?
Oh,
Or the miniseries.
there's a miniseries.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, there was
Oh,
a
I
made-for-TV
didn't see the
miniseries that I saw, and her thing was that she was a diver, not a football player. Like in the 70s, she was like a diver, and she was afraid of
Or Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, no, see, my favorite live-action Disney movie is still Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love that Knobs and Broomsticks.
How can you go wrong with Disney and Nazis?
So, you know what? And as a kid, I was so confused because I think I saw that when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I had no
Oh,
idea.
he's talking about Kingdom Hearts going
Oh.
into the Tron world.
Oh,
okay.
Right, Kingdom Hearts. Which one? What? did they
2
go-
and 3.
2 and 3.
Two and,
Oh,
well,
okay.
assume 3. And a
Yeah,
couple other
playing in
games.
the Tron world would be a lot of fun.
But Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I had no idea as a kid.
Flight as Navigator, I forgot about that. I'm
Oh.
sorry, I forgot about that one. Sorry,
Can
someone
you go
mentioned in chat. Sorry, that's a personal favorite of mine.
I like that too. No, when I was watching, I had no idea about any of the politics of the time. So,
Yeah.
like, I didn't understand why these soldiers or why these kids had to leave London to go live with this random person in the country. And,
Well,
The only
and,
reason I knew that stuff was because by the time I saw Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I was already well into the Chronicles of Narnia.
well, so
and-
was I. I don't know why. The World War II just flew over my head as a 7-year-old.
Now that
So,
clicked right into my head.
um,
They're going to stay with this witch for the same reason that the Pevensies went to stay with the professor. Okay.
all I knew was that I was really jealous of all these kids in London who got to leave London and live with these magical people.
Yeah.
Like, it seems
I'm
like...
jealous of the refugees.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, both C.S. Lewis and Disney made being a refugee seem really cool.
It was like
That's
the
true.
cool thing
That
to
is
do.
true.
If you become a refugee, you get to go through a magical portal.
Well, it's funny. I didn't even realize that happened until I knew people, older people that were children during the war. And
Right.
They told us this is what happened, and they had to all leave.
That's about what happened with me. She was like, "Oh, this was like a serious thing. This wasn't like,
This just wasn't closet hopping for fun."
So it's like I thought like the parents like made them leave because it's like I don't know, all of England decided to give their children a vacation all at the same time.
Well, no,
This was 7-year-old me though, and I watched that.
Everyone in London wanted to have a parents' weekend at the same time.
Yeah. It was a big wild party in London.
Yeah.
Children weren't allowed.
And yes, Ari, there was eventually Enchanted, and I really enjoyed Enchanted because...
Oh, I really liked Enchanted.
Well, one, it was the first time you really saw a combination of animation and live action from Disney since Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was awesome. But also, it was Disney making fun of Disney.
I was going to say, they were making
yes.
fun of their own princess model. And
But they were doing it and also not overly making fun.
No.
So it was like...
Because she was sincere
It was
throughout.
tongue-in-cheek but genuine.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was really
yeah.
impressed how they did that.
It was very sincere, and
So I thought it was hilarious when I saw it.
And they did exactly what Disney always does. There were subtle nods to all the old movies.
Yeah.
Like the
Cinderella.
receptionist at the lawyer's office. That was Jodie Benson.
That was Jodie Benson.
oh,
Yeah, that's why, what's her name starts holding fish in her mouth.
Yeah, and while she's looking at the aquarium and it plays part of your world.
Yes.
It's because Jodie Benson is the person that's going to be talking to Giselle.
Paige is asking in the chat, does Nostalgia Night on 3DP? Every night is Nostalgia Night on 3DP, Paige.
It's true.
Well-
This week is Disney nostalgia.
Yes.
yeah, we like Disney movies. I was gonna say something about what were you talking about before this?
Ben
Not
Knobs and Broomsticks.
No.
Animation
Nazis,
and live
kicking
action.
butt.
Oh, did you know that the body model for both Belle and Ariel was also played Slappy the Squirrel on Animaniacs?
I did know that.
Yeah.
So imagine that voice with that body. It's so weird to reconcile. But there's like some stock footage of that too. And
Yes, the Disney princessness does win out in the end, but with certain upgrades. Like the Disney princess is the one that saves the dude.
In Mulan, that's kind of true.
It's true, but I mean, by and large, for the Disney princess model, which Mulan doesn't fit, but Giselle does.
And Mulan is the only one that doesn't get married in the end.
No,
Of the
she gets
first
married
one.
in the second one.
The second one, yes, but at least not the first one.
Oh, Disney sequels. We should. No, I still haven't seen any of the direct. No,
Oh, I
I've seen
have.
one direct-to-video Disney
I've seen
sequel,
all
and that
of
was
them.
The
I
Lion
have
King
children,
2.
so-
I watched the Lilo and Stitch ones because
Yeah.
You know what I liked about Lilo and Stitch? The trailers that they did.
oh my
Oh,
god,
those
where you
were
go in and burn the other
hilarious.
Disney
Yeah.
movies, like
Yeah.
the Chandelier and Beauty and the Beast.
I like the Little Mermaid one where.
Crashing into Ariel while he's surfing.
Yeah.
The Aladdin one where he just takes Jasmine off the carpet and
Yeah.
takes shit. Look at her pot.
I do have to admit.
That's one of the things that really attracted me to Lilo and Stitch was obviously this wasn't going to be your typical Disney film. They knew it wasn't going to be your typical Disney film, and they were willing to make fun of not just themselves, but have fun with the concept.
When Disney makes fun of itself, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know what? Oh. Did anyone ever see the Shaggy Dog?
I saw the guy who turns into a dog.
That actually scared me, that movie. I was very afraid of that movie. I saw the original, black and white one. Sorry.
You know what I do?
I saw a lot of
Sorry,
them.
you're right. They basically save each other. He saves her in the Snow White scenario, and then she Sleeping Beauties him with the fighting a dragon with a sword.
Yeah.
It's weird, yeah. What about Tangled? What ended up happening there? I can't remember.
I really like Tangled, but Tangled is so very, very Disney that it's kind of painful to watch. You've got the quirky animal sidekicks. You've got with Pascal the chameleon, who is
He was awesome.
He was awesome, and the horse named Maximus, who is the best character in the whole damn movie.
So I still think the chameleon was. He's one of my favorite Disney characters.
If I was gonna.
But your mains, Herbert Fitzgerald or something, and Rapunzel are so very bland that it's all the other characters that end up standing out. The villain is quite good, Mother Gothel. The king and queen, who never speak, have incredibly well animated emotions so that they have great character development over the course of the movie. But I don't really care about Rapunzel or Prince Dude.
Wait, I heard that same.
Hi, Lehman.
I heard that
That's like
same
the reason
argument.
with Shrek.
Yeah.
Where Shrek, I mean, all the comedy comes from the peripheral characters, I don't care about Fiona and Shrek at all. And
I actually did. I'm
cared about
going to
Fiona.
disagree
I
with
didn't
you
care
with
about
that. Well,
they bothered me the entire time.
no. I liked it because it was again a
And
unique.
that's why I wasn't really into Brave, because there weren't any fun side characters as much.
No,
Actually, I
there
really
wasn't.
ended up liking Brave. But
Oh, yeah?
I like Brave, but I didn't
We
like
can't-
it as much
No, go ahead. I just won't say anything.
But I don't think I like it for the reasons that everybody says they like it.
Why do you like it?
Well, one, I really appreciated the departure from the Rapunzel animation style while still using 3D CG animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything there is more realistic, but while at the same time being pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that they didn't downplay Scottish accents at all.
That's good. Yeah.
Because, yes, they are damn near incomprehensible sometimes.
That was a good joke.
It was,
That was a good joke.
I liked the take on magic in general. I'm a sucker for mystical world building.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. But Merida, it's okay. I really like her dad.
I really like the dad.
Her parents were the best part of that movie.
Pretend I'm Merida. Oh, I just want to ride through the forest on my horse and play with my fire, streaming in the wind with my bow.
It wasn't that. It was like his little nod after, like, come on, go on, this is working. We can do this.
Merida's a very realistic teenage girl.
Yes,
Which is probably why I didn't like her that much.
Yeah. Merida's a very realistic teenage girl. That's
No,
what I
I
can say about her.
I like that part too. No, because I think the thing is, it's not that I hated Brave. It's more along that in comparison to the other movie that came out, which is
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
I really liked
totally
Wreck-It
loved Wreck-It Ralph.
They did like a...
I had
Far more than
I had an
Brave.
argument this weekend with somebody who said Wreck-It Ralph was terrible.
What?
Yep.
Really?
Oh,
Huh.
it's painful.
Yes, without the Disney animated Robin Hood, we wouldn't have the hamster dance.
I didn't even know that until like 2 years ago. So, that came on my playlist the other day. I never was into like some of the older movies, like The Jungle Book. Actually, I couldn't get into that.
I didn't really like the Jungle Book,
Yeah,
but I had it, so I'd watch it as a kid.
yeah. There was The Jungle Book. There was things like the Robin Hood. I couldn't watch because of that one scene in it where they go to prison, and I was just
And
like,
he does the sad version of the hamster dance
he
song.
does like. It was like we're all destitute and there's nothing good in the world song, and everybody's crying and starving, and I'm like, oh god.
No.
And Baloo was in it for whatever. Oh no,
Not
it
Baloo,
was
Ka.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, because they really liked the character style, or the character they developed in Jungle Book, and
Yeah.
it was downplayed.
I'm still trying to remember other movies I might have said before Little Mermaid of all the Disney.
Before The Rescuers.
Rescuers, and
Rescue
Rescue Down
Canyon,
Under.
yeah.
Rescuers.
Which is one of the rare instances of
The
Disney doing a
sequel's
sequel
better.
that wasn't a direct-to-video sequel and wasn't just an exploitive thing. Like, it was meant to be a serious theatrical run of the movie.
Okay, Kari, I'll bite. Tarzan, with all the music done by Phil Collins.
I never saw
I
Tarzan,
saw
to be
Tarzan.
honest.
That's when you started to really miss Alan Menken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though I will admit that some of his, energetic music was kind of amusing.
If I hear Son of Man or You'll Be in My Heart one more time, I'm going to go and punch Phil Collins in the throat.
Oh, good.
Because I'm so tired of those songs being in every friggin' Bar Mitzvah video I have to cut.
I didn't even know that was a Bar Mitzvah song.
Let's see.
You know what I hate? Actually, I hate when they do pop versions of the famous songs. You hear them playing at the end of the movie.
end of every one of them.
Yeah. And then that's...
You're like a whole new world. Well, I always like the movie version better than whatever they did.
And then, because then you always get these belters in there as well. And for some, in the Beauty and the Beast one.
They got Celine Dion.
Is that who's in that one? Oh.
Celine Dion doing Beauty and the Beast.
But like in the middle of it, the guy stops and he's like...
But you know what that was? That was exactly... It was the mentality that made them do that ended up killing Disney just a few years later. Because it was already on its way out because they were so focused on being a corporation and trying to market everything as much as possible. So you take the pretty Disney music that you're putting into the film, but you want to make singles out of it. You want to put it on the radio because it's sort of free advertising for your movie.
And that was before they owned Radio Disney.
Yeah.
Created Radio Disney.
Yeah.
Then they could just play whatever they want.
So you get whatever pop star of the day is popular, and then you have them come in and sing the song. And, I mean, even going so far as the song's actually being incorporated into the movie in The Lion King with, what's his name?
Oh, Elton John.
Elton John and Tim Rice writing them.
Yeah. But those had staying powers.
No, I'm not saying they don't. It's just, like...
But that was still
that's
early
when you
on.
started to notice, like, even though these films were brilliant in the day, you started to notice that they were, like, already shooting themselves in the foot. And, like, all of these things that they're trying so hard to do would end up, almost destroying Disney just a few years later.
But it's not destroyed because it's starting up, it's becoming better, right? Like,
well, it's... I think
I never saw Home on the Range. Did anybody see Home on the Range?
No. I took one look at those trailers and I'm like, no.
Roseanne Barr is a big old cow now.
So I was just thinking, who watched Home on the Range?
Lehman wants us to mention Mulan.
And Kari wants us to mention the Black Cauldron, and I can't believe I haven't already mentioned the Black Cauldron.
Or while we're at the Black Hole!
I love the Black Cauldron.
I have no idea what you were talking about.
I love the Prydain Chronicles in general, and that's why Black Cauldron hurts me so much, because it's such a terrible adaptation that I still love to watch.
Oh, really? I've never seen the Black Cauldron. That's one of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, actually I haven't seen it. I think I saw the video game once.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Black Hole?
What's the Black Hole?
There's another one that came out about the same time as Tron, and it was... The two of them together were such colossal failures that no one thought Disney would ever bounce back again.
I like the Black Hole.
And that's probably why they didn't do live action for a long time after that.
And oddly enough, then Tron went cult classic, and that's why they started to think,
Well, before that, they started doing...
Black Hole was scary
They got into... Like, there were two actresses they really kind of latched onto with their live actions in, like, the late 80s, early 2000s. So that's Anne Hathaway and, I can't remember her other name, the other girl. Trainwreck now.
Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, yes.
Because they were, like, in all of their movies for, several years.
Yeah.
Really?
It ruined Lindsay Lohan while not ruining Anne Hathaway.
Well, I mean, Anne Hathaway made a very political move in her career where she immediately got away from the Disney princess films by doing very dark movies
and stuff.
Yeah, she made the conscious choice of doing something very serious and very dramatic and very...
See, they know what the Black Hole is.
The
Black Hole! Like, is that an 80s thing again?
Says the child of the 80s.
We were growing up in the 80s.
We were growing up in the 80s. I wasn't a teenager in the 80s.
Black Hole was kind of scary. Yeah.
Was
when
it?
I was a kid. Oh yeah.
Another Disney movie that didn't get much attention was Chicken Little.
Oh yeah, I saw
I
Chicken
hated
Little.
that movie.
I wanted to like it a lot because I like Zach Braff. I liked a lot of the voice actors they brought into it, but it wasn't good.
Oh, it was so...
No, it just seemed almost every character was annoying.
Every character
I feel like that was where
a different take on a geek.
They were trying to do the Shrek
reference.
thing, where they saw that the DreamWorks thing was starting to work, and
the
Katzenberg
blended
was
by
doing...
Robot and Black Hole was scary. Sorry. Anyway,
But yeah, they were trying to do the Katzenberg thing with what he was doing over at DreamWorks and trying to make it all...
Snark.
Yeah, and totally, anachronistic pulp culture references to things that couldn't possibly exist in that time period or that world, and all the animals have, the weird, twitchy, sort of sideways, facey, smiling, grinning looks, and fortunately, DreamWorks is kind of, whoa, what happened here?
Shoot.
That's a good film.
Hey
It
there,
is, but I
guys.
think Beauty and the Beast was
We're
better.
sort of back. Errol's laying on the bed now, so...
But he's laying on the wrong way for you to see his face.
Yeah.
In a rather
Oh my
provocative
God.
pose.
So,
Maz.
do you wanna sit where you're visible to people, or are you...
Nobody needs to see my face.
Surely
Someone
do.
mentioned the old spaghetti factory in the chat. Now I want spaghetti.
I don't like the old Spaghetti Factory.
I've never been there, but they mentioned spaghetti and I want spaghetti.
Anyway, we had technical difficulties. I'm sorry.
Hey,
So,
Jared, want to hear
Your
something
fault.
funny? Manpans has the same computer as me.
so while we were waiting for it to boot up, Kieran completely understood my pain of like the 10-minute boot up as I'm sitting here.
Usually, if I had to restart my computer, I go and I take a shower. And
I do that. I was like, all right, start up the computer, get ready
I
for
wonder
the
if
day.
there is a solid-state computer you can buy. Is there?
I don't know. I've only ever had techie friends who built their own talk about the wonders of having a solid state for their boot drive.
Disney! We actually, even after we knew that no one was hearing us, we were still talking about Disney.
Disney.
Well,
'Cause
Manpans was fretting.
I was fretting.
And,
I was like sitting there
yeah.
angry, and everybody else was like, la 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 la. Who tripped on the plug? Nobody tripped. It's my display
Errol did. He
driver,
was
so who
walking over with his
knows?
crutches. And
So we're gonna have like an extra little 15 to 20 minutes in which we were gonna
Discuss more Disney.
discuss more Disney, and
except now I don't remember what we did or
I
didn't
don't know what we were
discuss.
talking about before.
Right before we went down, we were still discussing the CG animated movies of the late 2000s, the Home on the Range and the Chicken Little Troggles.
I never saw any of those, but I don't think they're.
They were Disney trying to do what was popular before realizing that they can't do what's
Right.
popular. They have to do what's Disney because they have become so entrenched in being Disney.
Right.
And so we had Home on the Range, then Chicken Little, then the Andersons. No,
Meet the Robinsons.
Meet the Robinsons,
Which was a movie that was generated from one of Walt's old quotes, which was, "Around here, we don't look back, we just keep moving forward." Because, and it was about Walt's ideas that you couldn't always dwell on what you'd done, you had to keep trying new things.
Okay.
So
Which
it's also
was
an
really
apology for making Chicken Little and Home on the Range, if you noticed it.
But that's something that I did mention when we were off that I did want to bring up was that, I mean, Disney, being what it is, unfortunately got kind of swept up in the corporate entity in the late 80s, early 90s, and kind of hasn't stopped doing that. And we all know, like, everyone's tired of the, directed tape and then directed DVD sequels and just over merchandising and overselling and just trying to do everything they can. And before that, Walt was actually not just an animation visionary, but a visionary about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he kind of pioneered the whole theme park concept.
Yeah, because no one thought would ever work.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And and a lot of things at those theme parks were, unique and very, very different and very.
Well, I'm interested to see like who pulls the strings. For instance, I just heard that Matt Groening, for instance, who created The Simpsons, fully admitted on an interview that he would have ended The Simpsons 10 years ago. He thought
Just 10?
just 10.
You have to, especially with a TV show, you have to answer to
You have to answer the network. So
the network and the studio, whoever's producing the show for you. And
So I'm just wondering, like, because at Disney, because it is such a big corporate machine, it's interesting to see, like, who pulls the strings there and stuff, and who, and so, I don't know, there is some executive there or some producer who is just completely wacko because they have the Star Wars now, they made Wreck-It Ralph, they're doing new things, but for a while there, it was a lot of direct DVD sequels.
yeah, well, I said it before, and I'll
And-
say it again. Clearly, when Disney bought Marvel and Disney bought Lucasfilm, clearly their goal was to remake Howard the Duck. That's all it is.
Well, if they CG animate it, Howard will look slightly less terrible than he did in the last film.
I was a kid when I saw Howard the Duck. I didn't hate it. I heard everybody hated it, and I saw it. It's like, oh, okay, this is just a movie, but I didn't hate it.
I own it on DVD. It's still in the plastic.
I have to ask, what is Howard the Duck?
Howard the Duck was a very terrible Marvel comic character who was just, he was this weird little alien that just made like really smart-ass, snarky comments all the time and would show up in everyone's books and kind of ruin the book. And
Howard
it
the Duck
became
is
this
like
running gag. And then,
Deadpool, but not funny.
yeah. So, for whatever reason, Lucasfilm decided to fund doing a movie for it, and they did this live-action movie of it, which had this like really crappy, terrible puppet and Tim Robbins and the mother from Back to the Future, Leah Thompson, I think her name is.
Yeah.
It was just a terrible, terrible movie that has some nostalgia factor if you grew up with it, but if you didn't grow up with it, it's just an awful movie.
Howard the Duck.
Actually, one of my favorite jokes from that one, which I can't repeat here, was one that the Nostalgia Critic did when Howard the Duck came bursting through a wall and there's a woman in a bathtub. And he did a DuckTales riff. But yes. If you know, if you go and look up his Howard the Duck review and you know the joke I'm talking about.
Okay. I was gonna ask something.
But yeah, the tangent I was starting to go on with the whole Walt Disney thing was, he almost invented the entire genre of doing feature animations that were
not even almost.
No, he did.
Yeah.
No one thought Snow White.
No.
There was always shorts. There was your Warner Brothers and your Disney shorts, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your Tex Avery.
Yeah.
And those were the big three.
He took a huge risk. He sunk everything into Snow White.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, it's not just that he sunk everything into it and that he created it. He's also, like, creating a genre is one thing, but the amount of people that he's influenced to pursue not just animation but live action film, as we were discussing off camera, it's quite an astounding list of people. I mean, Steven Spielberg, who for a long time was like the biggest name in Hollywood. Hayao Miyazaki, Tim Burton was a huge fan. John Lasseter, obviously, who made Pixar a thing and is now basically running Disney's animation studio. I don't know what his title is anymore, but
I think he's correct. I think he's creative head director.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, basically, they put him in charge, and I credit him for the reason why movies like Wreck-It Ralph were so much fun. It's still such a good movie.
Well, I mean, looking at the back end of Disney's production world is usually a terrifyingly seedy underbelly. Because Walt was a genius. I don't agree with everything Walt Disney stood for. He had his systematic.
Yeah, and he did kind of screw his brother out because it was supposed to be the two of them working together as a studio. Like it was the Disney Brothers studio. I think,
it was like the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon, thing.
And then his brother kind of, got weaned out of it a bit, and it became all about Walt.
But then once Walt died, it fell to Roy, and became obvious why Roy had been edged out over time. Because Walt was the one with all the ideas.
Yeah.
Roy was
he was more of the business guy, wasn't he?
He was more of the business guy, which is why once Walt died, the experimental prototype City of Tomorrow ended and instead became Disneyland version 2.0.
Yeah.
Because Roy knew that was what would work.
You know what I didn't get about Dumbo? Sorry, someone on chat just mentioned Dumbo. I don't get why some of the animals could talk and some of them couldn't. Like, the crows could. Like, the elephants couldn't talk. Dumbo I could forgive, because he's a baby, right?
Yeah,
Did
Dumbo's
she?
mom talked.
Yeah. I think it was just Dumbo who couldn't talk.
Yeah, Dumbo was actually the mute one. All the animals talked.
Okay, never mind. I don't have a problem. Lady and the Tramp.
Which will forever be associated with one scene and one scene only.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti!
Yes.
Getting back to spaghetti.
Spaghetti. All comes back to spaghetti.
Kari, I mean, it's kind of hard to discuss the original Golden Age films, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, because they're so far removed from the modern context. Like, the animation style is completely removed. No one actually does rotoscoping anymore unless they're doing it artistically rather than because that's the only way we know how to animate humans. The stories were adapted in their time.
We do something different now that's sort of based on rotoscoping. Yeah, mocap, which is the next evolution of rotoscoping. And it's the same purpose, but a different method of doing it. And it's, I mean, entire video games are based on it. There's entire movies based on it.
Yeah.
You can have Ellen Page the video game because of it.
Also, Disney is a huge topic. It's hard to cover all of the movies or mention all. Oh, the Siamese cats. That was the song where later on I was like, wow, this is a really bad song.
Those characters made me hate that movie.
Yeah.
Please?
You could see too, like I didn't realize it was also like the same woman, the same woman who sang the that one dog who sang the He's a Tramp song.
Oh yeah.
She also sang the Siamese song and wrote it as well, actually. No. Yeah. You can see.
And she was a quite famous at the time smoky jazz singer.
Yeah. Peg, yeah. Peggy something. So something. So famous.
We're very factual on this show.
I don't know. The classic Disney movie that I always loved was Alice in Wonderland, I think.
Alice in Wonderland was always such a head trip for me that I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But I really loved Sleeping Beauty, which is
Really?
the only of the early ones that isn't Alice that passes your
I did not like because you barely spent any time with Sleeping Beauty.
But that's the point. The story's not about Sleeping Beauty. It's about the fairies.
And Maleficent.
It's about Maleficent and the three fairies,
That's
Flora,
true.
Fauna, and Merryweather.
Yeah.
Like once you
Scary.
recontextualize the film and realize that it's not actually about Sleeping Beauty and Prince Philip, they are chess pieces on a board between three little old fairies and a scary ass Maleficent.
That's interesting.
It becomes a really interesting movie. And no, not the most racist thing Disney ever made. That would still be Song of the South.
Oh.
Even bad, it's just so very boring. Like,
Is it?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen Song of the South.
I've seen
I
it.
don't understand why Disney keeps trying to hide it, because ultimately if they just owned that they
Owned
made
up to it? Yeah.
like people would watch it and it would be like, oh god.
It's a product of its period of time. So it's
It's entirely like every other Disney.
It's the same as when you watch The Birth of the Nation, which is an incredibly racist film, even for its time period, but it's still sort of a product of its time period, and you have to understand the context of that time period.
Yeah. What makes the red man red is also...
pretty racist.
Yes, that's a pretty racist song.
I hadn't seen Peter Pan until like last year.
Really?
I almost turned it off at that point because I'm like,
this makes me uncomfortable. Well, I loved it
I still love Peter Pan.
I loved it as a kid, and then I read the actual story of Peter Pan.
Movie.
And I loved that one more. It was so much sadder, actually. And I remember that was actually, Peter Pan was my first lesson of the difference between Disney, the movie, and the actual story, or like what it's based on.
Some of the actual stories are actually kind of horrifying.
Pinocchio, he kills Jiminy Cricket. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Kills him.
There was something horrifying about
that's what he does. He's like, I don't think you should do that.
Little Mermaid?
Christian Andersen's Little
She
Mermaid.
commits suicide.
She commits suicide so that she will not have to kill the man she loves, who has married someone else.
Yeah.
And broke her heart. It was a jerk.
Yeah. And then someone else wasn't a witch. It was just another woman.
Yeah, a woman that he loved more.
Yeah.
And when she became human, every step was like knives.
Yeah.
But she danced for him anyway because it made him happy. And then because of the Christian allegories that were inherent in the fairy tale, when she threw herself onto the ocean water, she became sea foam, transforming into a daughter of the air for a chance to earn her soul, because mermaids, being not human, did not have souls, but had the right to earn a chance into heaven like everyone else.
Okay, my mind just goes floaty.
There was the Black Maid,
I have done this
Fantasia.
research.
That's, wow. No, I remember, reading the Little Mermaid fairy tale. Like, my mom had a Grimm's
Me
fairy
too.
tales thing, and I'm like, look, this isn't how it ends. She marries him, and King Triton forgives her.
Well, I knew the fairy tale before.
I did not.
Other fun ones that, in recent years, Disney started doing animated shorts again to go onto their DVDs. Like they did
the paper one, right?
Yeah,
that was an amazing piece of animation.
Or on the Mary Poppins Anniversary Edition, they had Julie Andrews come back and tell the story of the cat who could look at a king.
And
they animated that. Oh, she's
yeah.
But my favorite is that for the re-release of The Little Mermaid, for their big anniversary edition,
that's right.
They animated Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Match Girl.
Oh, that's a sad one.
And they didn't sugarcoat that one.
No.
Because you can't sugarcoat Little Match Girl.
Yeah.
They made it really happy, and with the grandma coming and holding her and taking her up to heaven.
Yeah.
But no, the Little Match Girl is a beautiful piece of animation using only Russian orchestral music.
Using only Russians.
I think it's all Tchaikovsky. What's the point?
Again, I wonder if that's John Lasseter.
I have to think it is, because you can chart these things, and you go back to Lasseter, and it's at that point that Disney starts doing artistic things again, rather than just money things again.
And it's an appreciation of animation and the things you can do with animation, rather than just, let's make an animated movie because it'll sell, because we have a market to, exploit. But
at the same time, it's not that Disney stopped that, because when Lasseter joins, that's the end of the made-for-DVD direct-to-DVD sequels.
Mm-hmm.
But
except
it's
for planes, but
well, that's not going direct to DVD.
No, it was supposed to. It's now going to theaters, but it was meant to go to.
But it's also the start of both the Tinkerbell franchise, Disney Fairies franchise,
I don't get that.
and the Disney Princess franchise.
Yep.
So they take what is marketable, but they are now packaging in a different way. I will admit that the Disney Fairies franchise, if it was completely removed from Peter Pan, if you take that out of your head, isn't terrible. The movies are about as inoffensive as My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Same kind of message, same kind of deal. These are girls who are friends. Boys don't really enter the picture. They're responsible for changing the seasons because that's what fairies do now. But the problem is that in the very first movie, they tried to own where Tinkerbell came from.
Oh.
And in so doing, they kind of put a giant middle finger up to Peter Pan.
Right.
Because Tinkerbell exists, that's fine. And you can even say, okay, this is a different Tinkerbell, or this is Tinkerbell before she meets Peter.
This is a parallel universe Tinkerbell.
Or any of those things. But then at the end of the movie, Tinkerbell has fixed this music box and is taking it back to the mainland, which is London.
Okay.
And the music box belongs to Wendy. Oh. And they show Wendy.
Like old lady Wendy?
No, little girl Wendy. Like Michael and John are Michael's probably not born yet. No. John's probably a baby aged Wendy. But Wendy, and you can't have Wendy without Peter, and if there's no Peter in Neverland, there's no Peter Pan.
And then the universe collapsed in on itself.
Have you read Peter and the Starcatchers?
I haven't, but I keep wanting to.
I highly recommend that book series if anyone's actually interested. It's sort of a prequel to Peter Pan, where it nods to certain things in Peter Pan without being, kind of. It's not forced to conform with everything in Peter Pan, but it still sets up a lot of things that you know in Peter Pan. And there's an actually really interesting way where they kind of introduce how Tinkerbell came about, and how Peter became a special boy, and all these other things occurred. But it's actually a really good story, and I do believe it's actually owned by Disney. It's written by I can't remember his name now. Anyways, go check out those books. I highly recommend them.
What's the latest Disney movie? Live action
Disney movie.
I saw
Redemption.
No. There's something that came out with the Disney logo that I just saw, and I can't remember what it was.
Frozen is the only thing I can think of.
That wasn't live action.
I mean, Disney's logo goes on the Marvel movies now.
That hasn't started. That'll start with Phase 2. They're still in the.
No, I saw a Disney movie. I was shocked that it was Disney. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this is Disney. Oh well, doesn't matter. Because it's sometimes you forget, but it's kind of hard to forget that Disney's doing movies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, other than the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Why won't that franchise end?
Yeah, I think it has by now.
It has now.
No, they're planning a 5th and 6th one now.
Really?
Yes.
Nobody liked the 4th. I didn't see the 4th.
I didn't see it either, but...
I didn't like the 2nd or 3rd.
Pirates of the Caribbean pleasantly surprised me. I'm like, this is really good for being based on a Disney ride, especially.
Well, because the other ones didn't.
They tried it again with the Haunted Mansion, and so...
Don't forget the Bears, too.
With
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. What other ride did they do?
Haunted Mansion, and Bear Jamboree.
We did another one that didn't work with Eddie Murphy again. Because they tried 2 with Eddie Murphy, did they not?
Tower of Terror.
Oh, was it?
Really?
Yeah, they tried Tower of Terror.
There was a TV movie one that they did for Tower of Terror that was actually kind of interesting. Which set up the idea of the hotel and how the entire elevator thing, was set up. And I thought that was actually kind of cool.
That's when the world learned to take stairs.
I'd almost wish that they would do one for the Tiki room, but the Tiki room was based on the Three Caballeros, so they can't.
Errol, Lone Ranger. That's right. That was another Disney one. I never saw it though.
Neither did I. I didn't really want to.
It was like some good old-fashioned Disney racism.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I'm like, Johnny Depp plays a Native American.
That's another reason why they had their...
I mean, there was
I thought so.
Mulan too, but Mulan was more like they played up stereotypes than.
And at the same time, they didn't, because I mean.
And I love that Mulan's now in a live-action Disney TV series.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she's part of Once Upon a Time.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mulan is now in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, and the character of Mulan.
Oh yeah, I do know that. Yeah.
So twice. Because they have a Mulan character in Once Upon a Time.
Yes, I do remember that.
I haven't seen that.
And she hooks up with, like, who is it?
I don't know. I don't actually.
Also have Captain Hook, and he's a lot hotter than the Disney version.
Oh.
That was another character that was really good in the...
Man pants and her man.
Yes.
What?
No, it's men with facial hair. It's not just men, it's men with facial hair.
Oh, that's right. You like the facials.
And she didn't like Superman.
Okay.
That was bad. I didn't mean it that way. So it came out.
Moving on.
That's what she said.
We're about hitting on
Muppets
time
was
now.
another recent one.
Yeah, right.
Muppets was a fantastic one.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, they messed up the new Oz, but they did a fantastic version with Return to Oz, which I think is a terribly underrated film.
Return to Oz is kind of
Return to Oz
creepy
is dark and
crazy.
wonderful. And
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
I wanted to see it, though.
But I love
Sad.
it because it looks like the old school sketches of the old L. Frank Baum books when they came out. They had like they had all kinds of pictures in them, and they designed all the characters to look just like they came out of the book. Unfortunately, Walter Murch kind of went crazy with it and went super dark with it. The Wheelers were awesome, but they scared the crap. And the desert of the Deadly Desert or something.
Yeah, the Deadly Desert that surrounds Oz. What I really liked about Return to Oz is that it's the only film that was ever.
Oh, video's going kind of wonky. Okay, we should guys wrap up before my thing goes out
and
now.
that's what I really love about it.
Sorry.
Sorry, we should go.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's going wonky. Oh yeah, I can see it. Alright, precursors. Thanks for joining us, guys.
My name's not Man
My name's not Errol.
My name
Not
is
Ja-Mez.
I'm not hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys
Bye
can't
bye.
see me.
I wanted to make zucchini. I should get zucchini bread. Oh, I have 3 minutes. I could totally get zucchini bread.
Whoa, you're not just going to leave me here while you
Manda.
You invite me over here, and then you just leave me here? You leave me to the wolves? They're going to tear me apart, Manda.